Hey there, this is Al, your Doo-Wop. What we'll be talking about today is something going to be a little bit different. We talked about the history of rock and roll and of the Doo-Wops. But this time it's going to be something a little bit different. This time it's going to be kind of like quite surprising. A lot of the Doo-Woppers, and back in the day, don't know too much about this guy that we're going to be talking about. And so let's listen to me careful on this one because it was something that I done my research on. And I remember him quite well, but it was back in the 50s. So this guy is, I would say, white pioneer. I say white pioneers for a lot of rock and roll and a lot of doo-wops, but usually they are black. But this guy is white, and I'm going to give you his name, and you might remember him, and you might not, because right now his name was Alan Freed. Alan Freed was way back there in the day. He was born really back there in 1922. That's when he was born. And so you got to realize one simple thing. This guy, he loved doo-wop and rock and roll. He loved it. And I'm going to explain to you why he loved it so much. Because he had the feeling of the blacks and doo-wops and rock and roll. And that was a rare case back in those days. So I'm going to give you it'll be part one and part two because it's a lot to know about this man. See, this man here, I'm going to call it reverse discrimination. That's the only way I can say it. Because of, back in those days, whites did not go for the rock and roll or the doo-wops or anything. But this guy, he loved it. And he pushed it and everything. And it really ruined his life. But he didn't give it up. He kept going forward. He just loved it. And so I'm going to give you I look on this, and I'm going to tell you a lot about this guy. See, back in the day, when they even called him Mr. Rock and Roll because he named it rock and roll. And he got it from the black because the blacks called themselves the guys that sing on the street corners, the doo-woppers. They called themselves also rock and rollers. But believe me or not, that was a sexual thing that went on with blacks at the time when they were rock and rolling. But anyway, we was at the juke joints and all of that stuff, and all that stuff was going on at the time. But anyway, he came up pretty hard. He was really born in Salem, Ohio. And he went to school to Salem High. He graduated. He left there, and then, he went into to the broadcasting and all of this. This is where he went into broadcasting after he finished. But he really was thinking about being a band leader, but he had an infection in the ear, and he couldn't handle it, and so he couldn't. I don't know too much about the infection in the ear, but anyway, that's why he couldn't become a band leader because he loved music. He loved all kinds. He loved music. So in fact, he played a trombone at the time. So all of this he went through a lot, and so at the time. He got a little bit involved in the rock and roll with the blacks and all this, and he liked it. He really liked it, so he wanted to go into broadcasting for the black music. So, but most of the radio stations and whatnot, they would frown at it a little bit. So, but anyway, he run into a friend of his, which was Leo Mintz. Leo Mintz had a great big record store, and he found out that Leo said, My goodness, you know what is happening is that this thing could work pretty good, with these records, because the white is coming in now and buying these records, these black records, the rock and roll and the doo-wops. He said, now, this thing might have something here. So he got together with Alan Reed, and he sponsored him a 3-hour show at night, late. And so when he done that, the radio stations didn't like it. They didn't like the rock and roll and the music that he was playing. So they told him, said, no, this ain't work. And so what they doing? They canceled him out. But guess what? When they canceled him out, right then and there, he was so popular that he didn't realize, so many whites, they wrote letters like crazy to the station, and the station had to rehire him back again. So then, he started moving forward and going forward. But he thought to himself, I can do better. I can do much better. I'm going to start with some concerts. So that's what he started. He started with the concerts. And so he got the black concert. It was Chuck Berry, Frankie Lyman, Jackie Wilson. He had in there also Clyde McFadden, and all of these guys that was black artists. I'm telling you, he just kept going up higher and higher. So, but this concert we had at the time really was a problem. It was a big problem, because right then there was so much integration and everything else going on this thing that it just was not going to work, because he gave a big concert in Boston, and the mayor at the time told him, said, no. Well, anyway, he already had the permit and everything to have this rock and roll concert. And so the mayor says he wanted to stop it, but he couldn't. He'd already got his permit. He got everything he needed. So it went on. And when it went on, that's the problem. So when it started, he had 10,000 seating. And it just packed out. So when Chuck Berry and Frankie Lyman, all these guys, when they started and everything else, they started dancing in the aisle. Boy, they was having a good time. And so anyway, the mayor sent the police department in there, and when they were dancing in the aisle, they told them to sit down. So you just sit down. And so when they sat out on this side, the other side was up swinging. They were getting down. And so this was black and white. But they were separate, but on one side with the other, but they was dancing. They was having a good time. And so, but anyway, what happened is that the police department kept right on and telling them to sit down. They leave this side, they go this side, white side, and in between, and tell them, say, sit down. You don't know. You ain't gonna dance done by. Anyway, guess what? Riot started out. And really, what happened, it was not Alan's fault. It was the police department's fault, because he kept harassing these people to a point where they just wouldn't take it anymore. So when they got to the point where they couldn't take it anymore, Alan got up and said, okay, we're going to shut it down, because of I see right now Boston do not want you guys to come out and have a good time. So we're going to shut it down. And when that happened, that's when the riot really started. I mean, it started, it was fights, everything else. But guess who was blamed? Alan Freed. So now the whites really got on his case. So he had to go in front of, would you believe it, the grand jury for inciting a riot. Now they're out to get him. I'm telling you, they were really out to get him. This was just the start. And it wasn't long before he was right there in court, everything else, for using the monies, everything he could get his hands on. So this is just a start of what Allen reads. But I'm going to be telling you somewhere out there on the second part is even worse than the beginning. How they really took advantage of him. They used the law. They used all kind of things to stop him. So this is going to be just part one, but you're going to get part two about him and what had he done to get blacks right now to be recognized with the whites. And he worked through the young teenage whites to get there. So, but stay tuned and subscribe because I will be telling you again about this, okay? Because it's very important that if you a Doo-Wop and want to learn about this, see, I was around a little at the time when Allen, because that was about 55, 57, 55, 56, 57. It's wrong in that time when I remember him. So I'm just going to try to tell you, it's an interesting thing how he suffered so much, and he refused to play for the pop chart. He only played for the R&B charts. The pop charts was basically white charts. All the Frank Sinatra, all the rest of these guys, all the rest of the guys was on the pop chart, all the thing else. So, but he only played, or wanted to play when he's a disc jockey, was the black music. And so this is the things that really we got to get back to it. We're gonna get back on it, and for part two. So you subscribe, and we're gonna keep talking about it. All right. You have a good day.